Before purchasing and installing Pella products, verify that the product performance meets the application requirements. Refer to the most current installation instructions on installpella.com for assembling and installing Pella products and for additional details on rough opening preparation for various wall system applications. Bifold panels are top hung. Verification of all building and construction loads by a structural engineer is recommended. Lay out all hardware boxes and installation packets containing installation screws. Refer to the installation instructions for the tools, materials, and specific steps needed to install your Pella product. Remember, always use appropriate personal protective equipment. Lay the frame parts exterior side up on a clean flat surface, inserting wood blocks under each corner to support and level the frame. Verify top pivot hinge and rollers are pre-installed in the head. Dry fit the jambs and sill. Apply painter's tape on the sill and jamb to assist with cleanup of any sealant squeeze out. Before applying sealant and placing sill and jamb together, locate the screw bosses using a handheld screwdriver and then drive the machine screws in and back out. This can aid in assembling the corner joint in the steps to follow. Begin at one end of the sill and remove the adhesive liner from the foam pad. Remove liner from the wood corner joint. Apply clear or color-matched high-quality sealant to the wood joint components and perimeter of the foam pad. Apply sealant in the step of the sill edge. Make sure the perimeter and all wood components of the corner joint has sealant. Align and fit the sill track end to the side jamb end, assuring corners are flush. Verify the corner is square prior to securing. Insert the 3 joining screws through the pre-drilled jamb end and tighten by hand until it engages with the screw boss. Apply sealant at the base of each screw at the pilot hole location in the jamb, coating liberally. Inject sealant into the interiormost cavity of the jamb until sealant is seen through the screw hole. Insert screw through the bottom hole and tighten by hand until it engages the screw boss. Complete driving the fasteners. Once secure, apply sealant to the heads of the screws. At the inside corner of the jamb and sill, pull the sill frame and jamb weather strips out, apply sealant to the corner, tool with finger, and reinstall the weather strip. Clean off excess sealant and remove painter's tape. Repeat this assembly process for the other jamb and sill corner. To one end of the head track, apply sealant around the perimeter of the extrusion and cover all wood joint components, assuring sealant is applied to all surfaces that will meet. On the jamb, inject sealant into the jamb screw boss. Align and join the jamb and the head so the outside surfaces are flush. Insert the 3 joining screws and tighten by hand until it engages the screw boss. Assure corner is square prior to securing. Apply sealant to the base of the screws at the pilot hole location, coating liberally. Inject sealant into the interiormost cavity of the jamb until sealant is seen through the screw hole. Insert screw into the bottom section and tighten by hand until it engages the screw boss. Complete driving all 4 screws to securely fasten the frame corner assembly. Confirm the corner is aligned and that there are no gaps between the head and the jamb. Insert a joining screw into the top of the flashing fin and tighten by hand until it engages the screw boss. Drive the fastener. Ensure the exterior accessory grooves are aligned. Apply sealant to the top of the screw heads. Clean excess sealant at the exterior corner joint. Lay out the labeled hardware boxes in their correct position according to the hardware placement guide found on each panel or in the installation instructions. Identify the pivot hinge box and locate the top pivot hinge leaf and pin to install in the head track, paying attention to the correct handing of the hinge. Using an Allen wrench, rotate and hold the adjustment locking release in the unlocked position. You must hold the lock release to the unlocked position, or else you will strip the part. Insert the hinge pin into the base and thread to approximately a 7/8 inch gap between the top of the hinge leaf and the head track. Identify the other carrier set hardware boxes and repeat the assembly process, making sure the gap is equal on all hardware installed in the head. Locate and hold the adjustment locking release to the unlocked position and thread the pin into the top base with an Allen wrench. To minimize adjustments required later, measure the length of each pin to ensure they are threaded as equally as possible. Prior to setting the frame, complete all required rough opening preparations, including any sill flashing and other steps as specified in the installation instructions. Tack or tape a 3/8 inch shim to the upper corner of one side of the opening to assist in placement of the frame. Insert and center the frame within the rough opening. Verify that there is adequate space for a continuous interior seal. Verify the frame is plumb, level, and square. Tack frame at one upper corner by inserting shims at each fastener location. Then screw into pre-drilled pilot holes to temporarily hold the frame in place. Do not drive all the way in. Assure jamb is plumb and level. Tack other side. Assure the frame is plumb, level, and square prior to continuing. Measure diagonally in both directions to compare measurements for squareness. Inject sealant to pre-drilled attachment holes in the sill track. Fasten the sill track using supplied screws either for a wood subfloor or into concrete into the pre-drilled sill track holes. Clean off any excess sealant. On one jamb, insert shims at each pre-drilled screw location under the weather strip, assuring an even reveal. Secure, pulling the weather strip back to prevent damage. Use a level to verify jamb for level and plumb after installing each screw. If the middle pivot hinge plate is present on the jamb, remove the innermost screw, drill an 1/8 inch pilot hole, and replace with a number 8 by 3 inch installation screw with shims underneath. This will provide additional support for the panels. At one jamb, measure the frame opening height. Use this measurement to set the height of the middle of the head. Swing tape measure to verify measurement is at the shortest distance. Fasten the middle of the head track by inserting shims behind the middle pre-drilled hole and using the provided head installation screws. Once the middle is secured, work your way to each end of the head, inserting shims and fastening at each pre-drilled hole location using the same measurement. Verify the head is fastened level. Apply translucent or color-matched sealant to the interior corners of the jamb and sill. Tool the sealant with finger and clean excess. Locate the pivot hinge hardware box, paying attention to the handing, and identify the bottom pivot hinge. Remove the 2 silver locking screws to disassemble the bottom plate from the hinge. The correct hinge handing will be stamped to the top face of the plate. Stage the bottom plate ready to install with the correct handing facing up. Inject sealant into the 2 pivot hinge pre-drilled holes in the sill track. Insert the bottom plate, aligning the non-threaded countersunk holes with the sealant-filled pre-drilled holes. Attach the bottom plate with 2 sill installation screws. Place the cam adjuster into the groove in the bottom plate. Insert the upper leaf assembly and fasten the silver locking screws with an Allen wrench. A properly installed pivot hinge will have the hinge barrel closest to the jamb, and the bottom of the hinge base will extend in the direction the panels will protrude away from the sill. Adjust the plates so the set screws are centered across the adjustment holes. It is better to adjust closer to the jamb than to have it extend too far away from the jamb. All screws are packaged and in the appropriate hardware boxes. Panels are pre-drilled and ready for hardware. No piloting or new holes should be drilled in door panels. Check written installation instructions for correct hardware placement. Panels will be installed in a sequence starting from the jamb. Refer to the interior elevation drawing on each panel to identify panel number 1. 2 or more people are required to handle the door panel installation. Starting with the first panel, support the panel in the open position with blocks or shims. Align the pre-drilled holes on the panel with the top pivot hinge installed in the head track. Insert the provided screws. Fasten the top pivot hinge to the panel using the provided fasteners. Fasten the bottom pivot hinge. Be careful not to pinch the weather stripping behind the hinge leaf. Swing the door panel closed and check for alignment with the frame. Check for proper reveal. The gap at the head and jamb should be 1/4 inch. The gap at the sill should be 3/8 inch. Refer to the installation instructions to adjust the hinges horizontally and vertically. If hinge adjustments were needed, make sure to securely fasten the adjustment screws on the bottom pivot hinge and on the top pivot hinge. Identify the offset hinges to be installed between panels 1 and 2. With the first panel open, orient the offset hinge so that the leaf that folds under the barrel is against the first panel, and the leaf that folds over the barrel will attach to the next panel. The hinge barrel will extend exterior of the first panel. If installed incorrectly, the second panel will not extend past the first panel, causing operating issues and potential damage to the hinge or panel. If installed correctly, the second panel extends out past the first panel, allowing for correct function of the door. Fasten each offset hinge securely. The hinge with the pull handle will be installed at the middle or lower middle location. Be sure to orient the pull handle correctly prior to installing. Align the second panel using wood blocks or shims as support. With a partner supporting the panel, join and secure the 2 panels with the offset hinges. Fasten the second panel to the top carrier hinge installed in the head. Locate the next hardware box in sequence, which should be a carrier set. Locate the bottom carrier hinge that will fit into the sill track. Insert the bottom carrier hinge into the track guide with the base extending in the direction the panels protrude away from the sill. Fasten the bottom carrier hinge. Locate the straight hinge in the carrier set hardware box. Secure the straight hinge to the second panel using the pre-drilled hole locations. Repeat this process for additional panels, supporting the weight with wood blocks or shims. Fasten the next panel to the top carrier hinge for support. Then fasten the panel to the bottom carrier hinge. Then join the 2 panels with the middle hinges. After each panel is installed, check swinging panel for operation, then check all remaining panels. Check that the reveal is even for all door panels. If the bifold has a door astragal, locate the part. On the interiormost surface, place a 6-inch bead of sealant up from the bottom of the astragal. Then apply a bead of sealant along the entire length of the astragal on the exteriormost surface. Orient the astragal in the correct position. Insert a provided screw into the middle of the pre-drilled screw holes until it appears through the other side. Position and align the astragal on the edge of the panel and fasten the screw. Fasten screws through all 3 pre-drilled screw holes in the astragal. Through the remaining astragal screw hole locations, drill a pilot hole into the edge of the panel. Install the remaining astragal attachment screws. If the bifold configuration has a passage door, install the hardware handle set according to the instructions provided in the handle set box. To install dual point lock handles, remove the 2 screws from the temporary escutcheon plate and retain the screws to attach the handle. Locate the square spacer within the dual point lock handle package. Using needle nose pliers, insert the square spacer into the tail shaft cavity in the panel to decrease the size in which the tail shaft will fit. With the dual point lock handle vertically oriented, insert the tail shaft into the door panel and attach using the screws from the temporary escutcheon plate. Lock all panels and evaluate the operation for additional adjustments. Check for equal reveal between the passage door and adjacent panel. Check the door panels for smooth operation. Refer to the installation instructions for remaining finishing steps.